This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, you've heard a lot about eggs, the price of eggs, the cost of eggs over the last, 4 years. It's suddenly important to Democrats that eggs cost a lot. Didn't matter for the last 4 years, but it matters now. And now they're going to bring eggs to the Capitol. Tonight, Donald Trump delivers a address to the joint session of Congress. Begins at 9 o'clock. You can watch it on Newsmax. It'll go probably an hour plus. I'm going to guess an hour 10, hour 15. And Trump will be in his element. As we know, half the Congress will be standing and cheering. The other half will be sitting on their hands. But they're not just content. The Democrats aren't just content to sit on their hands and scowl and sneer and whisper to each other about how much they hate the evil orange man. They're going to bring props. Yes, according to Axios, Democrats are planning, they have a plan to disrupt things tonight. They will yell out things. And if there were betting odds, maybe there are betting odds. Check that, Ironhead. Maybe there are odds on this. I'm going to say Jasmine Crockett will be the one who yells out something, calls him a liar or a fascist. Maybe AOC, she'll be front row center. Some of the Democrats are boycotting Chris Murphy, who's kind of become the head of the resistance and the biggest warmonger in Washington. He says he's not going, which really kind of ruins the whole night. I mean, how can you have a good joint session of Congress, a good presidential address without Chris Murphy? Please, Chris, reconsider. We need you there. But the squad will be making faces and booing and jeering and snickering. And according to Axios, they're going to bring eggs and empty egg cartons to highlight the price of eggs, which is hilarious on many levels. But the biggest, obviously, is they didn't give a damn about the price of eggs when the Biden administration was killing chickens and spending uncontrollably and driving up the price of eggs. But they haven't come down in the last 6 weeks, so it's Trump's fault. And they're going to bring eggs. So the big question I have this morning is anyone going to throw one? Are they going to just hold them up? Are they going to juggle? What are they going to do with the eggs or the egg cartons? Just wave them? They also are going to bring signs. According to Axios, they will bring signs kind of like when Rashida Tlaib brought a sign to the Benjamin Netanyahu address to Congress that said war criminal. They're going to have signs calling Trump a fascist, calling Musk an unelected tyrant. And they will bring pocket constitutions and hold them up to show that Trump is violating the Constitution. Boy, this is going to be good. This is going to be comical for a couple of reasons. Trump, again, in his element, he loves to make speeches. He loves the attention. It's all going to be scripted, which is good because sometimes, Donald Trump can go off script and it doesn't always go great. So he'll stick to the script. He'll highlight what he's done in the last 6 weeks, including closing the border and making every effort to end the war in Ukraine. Very, very popular agenda items. And Republicans will cheer roundly, and they should, because it's been a great 6 weeks. And Democrats will scream about the price of eggs. Also, according to Axios, they're going to bring hand clappers, red cards, and various other props. Hand clappers? I thought they weren't going to clap. I thought their whole job was no clapping, no cheering. And the list of guests, Trump he's good at this. As you can recall from his first term, he always has good guests. And obviously, he's got a lot to choose from. Lake and Riley's parents are going to be there. They'll be highlighted when he talks about immigration. Corey Compatora's family will be there. He's the firefighter who was murdered in the failed attempt to assassinate Trump. That's going to be emotional. Mark Fogel, the guy that Trump got out of Russia, kind of under the radar, but he got him out of Russia, and he didn't have to give up a merchant of death. He just got him out, put some pressure on Russia. Jocelyn Nungary's mom will be there. Stephanie Diller, she's the widow of Jonathan Diller, the New York City cop who was murdered by a thug who was let loose on the public by Democrats in New York. And Daniel Penny is invited. That's a good one. Daniel Penny, he belongs there. And in response, Democrats are inviting laid off bureaucrats. I'm sorry, they're going to lose this battle of narratives of invited guests. If their plan is to invite some guy, who worked at the Department of Commerce and Trump laid him off, good luck with that. Here's what they don't understand is these policies are wildly popular. The Democrats, the media, they have tried to tell you that Republicans are regretting their choice, which is laughable, or that Trump and Musk have gone too far. But if there's two things the public voted for, that the public demanded, it's closing the border, which he did, and it's cutting down the size of government, eliminate the waste and fraud. And they have done a spectacular job at this so far. And it doesn't matter. You can march out all the laid off bureaucrats, the people in the private sector, the taxpayers. They're not playing along. Their hearts aren't broken for people who are given $25,000 to quit. The Department of Education is giving people $25,000 to quit before they get fired, or people in these other bureaucracies who are getting 8 months severance, people who did nothing, who didn't show up at work. As we've said many times, 6% of federal workers go to work. I don't think there's too many people in the private sector, most of whom who have been fired, who have been laid off, who haven't gotten 8 months severance, who haven't gotten a check for $25,000. They don't feel bad. They know there's vast amounts of waste and corruption in the federal government, and they're applauding the effort of Trump and Musk and Doge. That could be the biggest success we've seen in these 6 weeks, the exposing of Democrats who were using the federal government, using taxpayers' money as a slush fund, as a scam, as a scheme to enrich themselves and their friends. And it's only just begun. We went over the programs, the alleged programs that we've been funding for years, like USAID. There's not too many taxpayers who feel bad that we're no longer going to fund Sesame Street in Iraq or drag shows in Ecuador. That was done kind of under the radar when we had a Democrat president. No more. It's been exposed, it's been ended, and the public is thrilled. And I think there's going to be a lot of talk about Ukraine. And here's again, where you have a great divide. You will have the Democrats and the media on one side begging and pleading for endless war. Let's just keep on shoveling billions to Ukraine. But I think people understand now that it has to end. Trump has made the case, Vance has made the case, Rubio, that it has to end. There's no way, there's no path to victory for Ukraine. So Trump's going to point out that he's demanding peace. And last night, he froze all funding to Ukraine. For that, I applaud, and so do most Americans. They know this whole thing is a waste of our money, and worse, a waste of lives. Trump said it, and he said it over and over again. So is Vance. So is a number of Republicans. People are dying, thousands. Trump said it yesterday when he held this press conference in the White House. He said 2,700 Ukrainians died last week. For what? For what? A border dispute that is going to end at some point anyway? There's going to be a deal at some point. They're going to settle this. Why drag it out? Why do Democrats, why are they all in on endless war? It's such a bizarre dynamic right now to watch every single Democrat pound the desk and kick and scream because we will not commit to endless war in Ukraine with Russia, a war that Ukraine, once again, cannot win. We got a lot to get to. I want to get to all these topics that Trump will discuss tonight, but I was going to save this, but give me this Eric Swalwell cut. I think the big story over these last 6 weeks, Trump's just doing what he said he was going to do. He's doing what he promised he would do. He's keeping his promises. He's pursuing his agenda. The big story is Democrats have lost their way. They've lost the plot. They just have gone off the rails. We've seen it with many of their leading voices, with Jasmine Crockett and AOC. And I mean, if you're a Democrat, are you not ashamed, embarrassed that these are the people out front? These are the people making the case for you against Donald Trump. Here's Eric Swalwell explaining that our investments in Ukraine, somewhere between $200 and $350 billion, which we have essentially just set on fire over the last 3 years, that it was a great investment because we're not dying, they're dying. This is the most morally bankrupt, just sinister take on the war I think I've ever heard. But this is your guy. If you're a Democrat, Eric Swalwell is your guy. He's out front. He's speaking every day, making the case for endless war in Ukraine and just pointing out that who cares? Who cares if Ukrainians are dying? Who cares if thousands of young men on both sides lose their lives? It's not costing us any lives. Listen to this guy.
If you look around the world, our biggest economic enemy is China. Our biggest geopolitical enemy is Russia. In a matter of 3 years, without losing a single U.S. soldier, we have decimated their military and their economy. It's been the greatest return on investment for any military expenditure ever. And as far as the return on investment for soldiers' lives, it's infinity because you can't divide zero.
Infinity. The greatest investment we've ever made because we've decimated their military. Ukraine has lost, I don't know, somewhere you cannot get a reliable death toll. Trump mentions 1 million people. Maybe that's exaggerated, but hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians have died. There's all the estimates are off the map. The British Defense Ministry, this is from the Times of London, estimates that 800,000 Russian soldiers have been killed or injured. The Ukrainian military says 200,000 Russians have died. Civilian deaths somewhere between 25,000 and 75,000. And we're talking probably close to 1 million dead. And this soulless ghoul says it's the greatest investment we've ever made because Russians are dying. So that's wonderful. Let's just sit back, send them billions, and watch these young men die in a fight over land in the Donbass region. You have lost your way. If that's your take on a war, that it's a good thing. Lots of them are dying. Let's kill them all on both sides. And he thinks he's got a big smile on his face. Isn't this wonderful? We're not dying. We're just sending them money, and they're dying. These people are sick. This whole take on the war is sick. If you're a Democrat, you really should be ashamed, just ashamed that is your take on a war, and you're happy. Let's see. Well, let's wake up today. Check the death toll. Oh, good. Another 3,000 dead young men on both sides. What a great investment. So this clown thinks it's a great investment to take money, spend it on weapons, and kill young men that we have no fight with. We're not at war with them. It's not our war. And then you have the little tyrant, the little comedian on the other side saying, your young men and women are going to have to die. you're going to have to come and die. No, we're not. No, you're going to have to make a deal. And Trump is going to make the case tonight. And I think that is a huge winning issue, as is the border. This is amazing. We talked about this for months during the campaign. Every day, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Mayorkas lied to your face. They lied to the cameras. They said there's nothing we can do. We need legislation. Republicans in the Senate, they will not make a deal, because Trump needed a talking point on the campaign. Biden said, give me the power, give me the money. I can't do anything. My hands are tied. Well, that was a big, fat lie. That was perhaps the second biggest lie of the campaign. The first being that Joe Biden was tip-top. But after he withdrew and Kamala was coronated, this was the biggest lie. There's nothing we can do about the border. Here are your border numbers. It's down, illegal crossings down 95% from 2024. That is amazing. Immigration crackdown, Southwest border encounters in February 2024, 190,000. Same border, same month, 2025, 8,300. So Trump closed the border like he said he would. So just so you know, they lied to you. And worse yet, when you think about it, it was a decision. It wasn't incompetence, wasn't a mistake, miscalculation. It was a decision. We're going to open the border. We're going to let as many illegals in as we can. We're going to let 200,000 in 1 month. We're going to hope that they eventually vote Democrat. Your president, your vice president, made a decision to open your borders and flood your country with illegal aliens. That changed on January 20th, and there are the numbers. The border is closed. Promises made, promises kept. What more do you need to know? You were lied to. If you're a Democrat, your party did this to your country as a political strategy, as a decision. That is nothing short of treason right there. That is nothing short of treason. Allowing 200,000, all told, 10, 12, 15 million illegals on purpose. And we'll be paying the price for years to come. We'll see it tonight with Lake and Riley's mom and dad and with Jocelyn Nungre's mom. They'll be there. Trump will acknowledge them. They will get huge ovations. And someone in the Democrat Party is going to explain why. Why did they have to die? Why? Why did you do this? Why did you do this to your country? Why did you allow this to happen? That is going to be a very strong case, a very big moment in this speech. But there'll be so much more. A lot of Ukraine talk, a lot of border talk, and a lot of fireworks, and I'm just going to predict right now, Jasmine Crockett will be escorted out of the building. She's going to lose it. She's loving her new role as the kind of spokesman for the resistance. We will get to Jasmine, this whack job, as well as a number of other Democrats who've gone off the rails. One Democrat congressman has kind of advanced the narrative. She's demanding Elon Musk go back to Africa. Yes, we have reached the go back to Africa phase of the Democrat meltdown over Elon Musk's effort to eliminate fraud, abuse, waste in the federal government. We'll get to that and lots more. But first,
Excuse me.
going online without ExpressVPN is like leaving your kids with the nearest stranger while you go to the restroom. They're probably not a kidnapper or a serial killer, but why would you ever take that chance? Every time you connect to an unencrypted network in cafes, hotels, airports, whatever, your online data is not secure. Any hacker on the same network can gain access to and steal your personal data, passwords, bank logins, credit cards, all of it. ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. Plus, ExpressVPN works on all devices, phones, laptops, tablets, and more, so you can stay secure when you're on the go. It also comes with Identity Defender, a new suite of tools to get your data removed from data brokers, alert you when your data appears on the dark web, and even insure you against data theft for up to $1 million. For me, having online identity protection like ExpressVPN is a no-brainer. I've had my share of problems with online theft before, and it's just not worth the risk. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/Gerry. That's expressvpn.com/Gerry to find out how you can get 4 extra months free. Go to expressvpn.com/Gerry. Well, there's kind of a competition now among Democrats to put out, videos in the morning and, scream about fascism, because an elected president is doing what he said he was going to do. And some of it's hilarious. As I pointed out, Swalwell, I couldn't tell. Did he fart during that clip? I couldn't tell. He does sometimes. And he held it in. Good for him. But this could be the funniest one. If you ever thought, it was organic, it was original, that these people are just expressing their thoughts, think again. We have a clip from both Liz Warren and Chuck Schumer, both of whom think they're, leading the charge here. And they say the exact same thing. By the way, Cory Booker does too, but the clip of the three of them together is really a mess. So this is Liz Warren and Chuck Schumer, both of them who put out videos talking about Trump, failing to lower the price of eggs and everything else, and Musk having access to your personal data. Imagine that. A public official, someone in the federal government having every single one of their talking points is more absurd than the last. Obviously, the federal government has access to your personal data. Obviously, the IRS has access to your data. Musk works for the president, and he has access to these federal agencies. Same thing happened when Joe Biden was president. Same thing happened when everybody's president. What do you think? Only Donald Trump should have access because he was elected? Obviously, the people he hires, the people he surrounds, obviously they have access to your data. But like I said, they don't have to be smart. They just have to scream and kick and call him a fascist. Here is Liz Warren and Chuck Schumer reading the exact same script, pretending it's, authentic. Go ahead.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down. They're up. Inflation is getting worse. Not better. The prices of groceries, gas, housing, eggs, of essentials. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has done nothing. Goose eggs to lower prices for you. Instead, he's pardoned violent criminals who savagely beat police officers on January 6th. That's an effing disgrace. He's letting Elon Musk take a chainsaw to vital government programs, and then, even worse, giving him access to Americans' most sensitive data, Social Security numbers, tax returns, healthcare bills. He's fired thousands of essential workers, people who help our veterans get their benefits, people fighting Ebola in Africa so it doesn't come here.
I'll give Liz credit. She looks more like she's pulling it off better. Chuck Schumer's just staring at the teleprompter and reading it. Liz at least looks a little less scripted, but they actually have the word shit and they both read it. They both read the same swear word that starts off their script. There's your leading voices of resistance for the Democrats, reading a script.
I actually saw that I think it was Cory Booker did the exact same one as well.
I just said that. You didn't listen to me. You don't listen.
Sorry.
What are you doing?
Something on the back end.
What are you doing? Watching wrestling or something? Yeah.
You did watch over the weekend. I know your favorite.
I watched all three of them, and it is just chaos. But whatever. These are the people who will be screaming tonight. I don't think Liz, she's too old, and she's not going to scream, but she'll be rolling her eyes and blah, and there'll be some who walk out and some who get escorted out. And my guess, again, is Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett is a great gift to Republicans. She's the Democrat from Texas and a total whack job. She's the one they asked her if she had a message for Elon Musk, and she said, F off on camera. And she was so proud of herself. I watched this show over on CNN over the weekend. It's called whatever. We Got News for You. It's supposed to be a comedy show. And they have a whole panel. And this lunatic starts going off on Musk. And the other panelists said, we're not going to talk. We're just going to give her the whole hour because she's so good. And I'm sitting there going, that is perfect. That's the best thing that could happen to Republicans, that Jasmine Crockett becomes the de facto leader of the party. She's totally unhinged. She's not smart. She's the one that went at it with Marjorie Taylor Greene. No, Nancy Mason. They were going to step outside and fight. She's got long fingernails. She might be dangerous in a fight. But she goes on, I don't know what it is, MSNBC. They have her on every day now. And it's a gift. Again, it's just the best thing Republicans should hope for. Here's my wish. Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, is talking about running in 2028. Yes, he told, I don't know, New York Times, I think, that he's considering a run in 2028. Oh, man, Republicans should start donating to him now. Tim Walz, top of the ticket. Jasmine Crockett is his VP. Walz, Crockett, 2028. That's what I'm hoping for. Right now, they're talking about who's going to run in 2028. They don't have anyone. They don't have anyone who's not certifiably insane. You're going to have someone. It's going to be Crockett or AOC or Rashida Tlaib. They're going to be on the debate stage. They're going to run, and it's going to be just lunacy. These are people so far out the mainstream. These are people who are just totally unhinged, and they've become the spokespeople for the party. And that couldn't be a better development for Republicans. But Jasmine Crockett was on. Here's where they're going with Trump. Crockett goes on and says Trump is an enemy to America. What? Why? Trump was elected. He won big. He is doing what he said he would do. And everything he does is America first. Everything he does is what's best for America. And like he says, it's common sense. I mean, close the border. That's an enemy of America, someone who closed the border, fighting for peace, to stop sending billions of taxpayer money to this stupid war. That's an enemy of America. Cutting waste in the federal government. That makes him an enemy. We need more Jasmine Crockett. Do we have Crockett? She's just the best, and she thinks it's dangerous because she thinks she's smart. Oh, we got this crazy woman too. We'll do Nydia. Her name is Nydia Velasquez. She's a congresswoman from New York. And they hold a rally with it. I mean, it looks like, the bar scene from Star Wars, just all these crazy people and blue-haired ladies and who just hate Musk, hate him, because he's volunteered to find waste, fraud, corruption in the federal government. And they're all afraid the trail is going to lead back to them. That's what they're really afraid of. So they hold a rally defending waste, fraud, and corruption in the federal government. And their latest strategy is telling Musk, who's been a U.S. citizen for 22 years, who's the single biggest taxpayer in the country, who employs hundreds of thousands of people, good jobs too, who's an innovator, an entrepreneur, just a great American, an American hero, in my view. She wants him to go back to Africa. Listen to this.
My question to Elon Musk, and what the hell are you doing here in America? Go back to South Africa.
Very inclusive.
They cheer. She says, go back to South Africa, and they cheer. Consider what we just went over. So 10, 12, 15 million illegal aliens, most of whom contribute nothing. as Stephen Miller points out, most of them go to cities and collect welfare, collect all the benefits, the hotel. That's what they do. Democrats want them in the country. They want Haitians in Springfield, Ohio. They want Dominican drug gangbangers in New England, but they don't want the single biggest taxpayer, a great businessman. They don't want him in the country. Why? Because he's exposing all their scams and schemes. It is the most illuminating thing of the Trump administration, that they're trying to cut out the waste, expose the fraud, and Democrats and their followers are fighting them. Not just fighting them, they're threatening his life. They're trashing Tesla dealerships. They're selling, giving up their Teslas because a man is doing what again? Oh, that's right. He's finding fraud, waste, and he's eliminating it from the federal government, and they can't stand it. Here's my choice for Democrat VP nominee in 2028, Jasmine Crockett.
So unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House. And as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. He swore an oath just like the rest of us. But right now, when you are literally putting us at risk, all because of what? Because you want to convince your followers that you should be a dictator too, that you should never leave the White House because you don't believe that elections should take place. I don't really understand what is going on, and I don't know what it's going to take to get people to wake up.
Enemy of the United States because he wants to convince people he should be a dictator. Trump has a lot going for him right now. Obviously, he's got the Senate, the House, the White House, the Supreme Court, the people. He has his greatest strength right now, his greatest advantage is his enemies, his adversaries. He has the worst people in the world fighting to stop him. People like that. People like Liz Warren and Eric Swalwell. Just absolute vile, awful human beings who have nothing. They have nothing. It's so tiresome. It's so tedious. Yeah, he's a dictator. Yeah, he wants to end the Constitution. They're going to waive constitutions tonight for the cameras to say he's violated the Constitution. In what way? I mean, they literally have nothing because his policies are popular, because he is indeed motivated by common sense and what's best for the country. Can you get that CNN clip, Harry Enton? I love when Harry Enton does polling, because Democrats are hoping, praying, they're rigging polls to make it appear that people don't like Trump and what Trump's doing. And it's just blowing up in their faces. The closing the border is an 80-20 issue. 80% of the public is applauding him. Hell, 67% of Democrats want the border closed, and their elected representatives do not. 80-20, girls and boys sports. We'll get to that. Every single Democrat wants boys and girls sports, boys and girls locker rooms. But this is Harry Enton on CNN showing how much more popular Trump's position on Ukraine is than Biden's. And Democrats are all in on the minority position here. Let's just keep shoveling money to Zelensky, wasting money and watching young Ukrainians and Russians die. Go ahead.
Well, I think the easiest way we can kind of just ask this is, do Americans like the way that Trump's handling his job and compare it to how they felt about Joe Biden? So this is the net approval rating. You look at Joe Biden back in 2024, he was 22 points underwater. Holy cow. You look at Donald Trump, it's just a different planet entirely. I mean, the gulf between these two is wider than the Gulf of America or Mexico, depending on which side of the aisle you stand on. He's at +2. So look, at this particular point, Americans are giving Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt. He's doing considerably better than Joe Biden was doing on the handling of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And so on this simple question, I think Americans are saying, okay, Donald Trump's doing all right on this.
What about specifically on how they feel about bringing the war to an end?
Yeah, okay. So, look, questions on this can be quite complicated, but I think this kind of gets at sort of where the American trend line is. Americans on the Russia-Ukraine war want a quicker end of the war, but Russia keeps its captured land. Look at this, 50%, bare majority coming in here. Support Ukraine's right to fight, even if it means a longer war. That's at 48. This is very, very close. But the trend line on this question is so important because that want a quick end of the war. Look at this. You go back to August of 2022, it was at 31%. Now we're at 50%. I mean, that is a rocket ship upwards in terms of the Americans who want a quick end to the war, even if it means Russia keeps the captured Ukraine land. Americans are moving closer and closer to wanting a compromise, even if it means that Ukraine doesn't really get what it set out to want, at least at the beginning of this war.
And Americans,
and listen how they ask it. They said, "Do you support Ukraine's right to continue to fight?" And it's a minority. People don't want to continue this. If you said, "Do you want to stop the killing, stop the dying, stop sending hundreds of billions of dollars?" it'd be even higher. But they're done with the war. Most Americans, not Democrats in D.C., but most Americans are done with this war. Most Americans are thrilled that the border is closed. Not Democrats, not Liz Warren, Chuck Schumer, Jasmine Crockett. They are out of touch, out of step, and it's great to see. And I think tonight we're going to see it, man. They're not going to be happy when he talks about peace, when he talks about ending the death, which he will do. He will. I mean, I don't want him to say this anymore. He says, it wouldn't have started if I were president. He says it over and over again. I'm done with that. All right. It wouldn't have happened. Let's talk about dead Ukrainians. That's the best, most compelling talking point he has. He said it yesterday, 2,700 last week. That's almost as many people as we lost in 20 years in Afghanistan. 2,700 Ukrainians last week. Is that accurate? I don't know. We don't know much. Hell, we don't see much. You ever notice we see less video from the Ukraine war than we did from Vietnam or Iraq or Afghanistan? We see very little for some reason. We don't, they're not, even in this day and age with drones and satellites and everything else, we don't see much. It's still kind of a mystery what is going on there. But most Americans agree, time for it to end. It has to end. We got to get to this big vote in the Senate yesterday. Do you want to protect women and girls? Protect women and girls in sports. Obviously, Democrats are insane. We've made that point. We've pretty much established that. Democrats are insane. Nothing exemplifies this more than when they vote, when they put it to a vote. Do you want boys in girls' sports? Do you want boys in girls' locker rooms? We've gone over it before. Leah Thomas didn't just steal titles from girls, steal places on the medal stand, records from women. He liked to walk around naked. He really did. One of his teammates was tweeting last night about how he is a 22-year-old man, and 18 times a week they were forced to change in the locker room with him, and he proudly walked around naked, showing off that he couldn't be stopped. There's nothing they could do to stop him. He is a bully and a punk, and Democrats stand with them. We'll tell you about that. And Mayor Wu and 3 other Democrat mayors, open borders, sanctuary city mayors, are heading to D.C. to testify tomorrow. And this is going to be great. We'll get into that and more. But first,
Excuse me.
All right, small business owners, listen up. If you're tired of losing money to credit card processing fees, we've got something you need to hear. With 24/7 payments, you can eliminate up to 99% of those fees thanks to their fee elimination program. Here's how it works. You pass the processing fees on to customers who pay with credit cards, and in return, you can offer them a discount for paying with cash or debit. It's a simple, effective, and fully compliant way to save thousands every month. Right now, 24/7 payments is switching over 250 businesses every month to this program, and they can have you set up in less than 24 hours. Call 855-504-0799 today or visit them on the web at 247payments.com. That's the numbers 247payments.com. Are your loved ones aging? Has walking become difficult for your parents, your grandparents? It's tough. I've been there. I know lots of you have been there too. Stairs can often be a challenge for them. It's also a significant risk of falling. Well, Lifeway Mobility, one of the largest providers of accessibility solutions, offers stair lifts, wheelchair ramps, home elevators, transfer aids, and bath safety solutions to improve safety, independence, and quality of life at home. Most of their solutions are made in the USA, and they provide professional installation and service. Gain peace of mind and help loved ones stay safe at home. Schedule a free consultation when you call Lifeway Mobility at 888-780-7923. They have locations across the U.S. with showrooms for you to see and test their products. They're also rated the best stair lift company by the National Council on Aging and by U.S. News, and they have over 6,000 five-star reviews. Call 888-780-7923 or visit lifewaymobility.com for your free consultation. That's 888-780-7923. All right, here's a story from NBC News. Senate Democrats voted unanimously to block a Republican-led bill Monday that would prohibit federally funded schools from allowing transgender athletes from participating in women's sports. Now, we've come a long way. Most people just say boys because they're boys or men. In a party line vote, 51-45, Democrats filibustered the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act. It fell short of the 60 votes needed to advance as Democrats dismissed it as a distraction and a cynical political move. Well, if it is a political move, it is a brilliant one because every single Democrat, unanimous, not one, not even Fetterman, stepped out of line with the party and voted to protect women and girls. What this does is kind of removes this notion that Democrats care about women, that they're feminists. They want men, they want boys dominating women's sports. They want them in the locker rooms. They want them in the bathrooms. It's an insane political position. As we know, the public, it's at least 80-20. It's probably closer to 90-10. People are against this. But Democrats are so cowed by the trans mob. They're just so beholden to this radical fringe that they can't bring themselves to defend women and girls. Here's a quote from Senator John Hickenlooper from Colorado. He said, the bill was introduced by Senator Tommy Tuberville from Alabama. He says, Senator Tuberville is trying to churn the social wars about something that doesn't exist. I love that. It doesn't exist. Immediately, the videos went viral. Obviously, there's a guy in California, a runner, and he's in like a couple of events, 200, 400 meter. The girls refused to run against him. He ran by himself and he won. He won the girls' title. And he ran another race with like two other girls. He won that too. He dominated. We already went over the pole vaulter who won the state title in Maine. A strapping young man who grew his hair out, wasn't a very good boys, was a decent boys pole vaulter, became a women's champion, girls champion. And then there's this video from Massachusetts, which has gone viral again, of a boy playing girls basketball, which is worse than track because you don't just take their titles, you can hurt them. Here it is. This has gone viral again. This is what Democrats say doesn't exist, doesn't happen. There he is, throwing a girl to the floor. I believe he injured 3 girls in this game, and other teams then began to forfeit rather than playing against this brute. Look at that girl, injured. By the way, there's going to be a girl at the speech tonight who was injured in a volleyball match against a boy who spiked the ball into her head. And Democrats, I hate the expression hill to die on, but they have chosen this hill to die on. They are going all in. Fetterman, we had some hope for the big lug. He writes, after voting with the Democrats against women, against girls, he writes, a small handful of trans athletes in Pennsylvania in a political maelstrom deserve an ally, and I am one. Depersonalized as they, them in a political ad, but are just school children. Empty show votes or cruelty on social media aren't part of a thoughtful, dignified solution. That's Fetterwoman, you know, big champion of women's rights, doesn't care about the girls. And a response came from Paula Scanlon, who I believe swam with Leah Thomas at Penn. She writes, John, the fully grown 6'4", 22-year-old man in Pennsylvania that undressed in my locker room 18 times a week was not a school child. He was a predator, and no women should ever experience this, not even once. That's a hell of a response. It is so wildly unpopular. It makes you wonder. I mean, wouldn't Democrats want to at least have a couple of people to vote with the girls, vote for the girls, the women, just to make it look like they're not all in on this madness? But no, they just gave Republicans another campaign ad. You want to get ready, because like in Georgia, John Ossoff, Senator of Georgia, voted for this, voted against the women, against the girls. And he's got to run in 2026 in Georgia. And this will be a campaign issue. And they could scream all they want that there's only a few. It only affects a few. There's only 2 boys in Maine. Well, they play against hundreds of girls and they dominate them. It's not about the boy. It's not about Leah Thomas's happiness. It's about fairness. And everyone knows it. And it is just a great political issue for Republicans. And it ain't going away, because I don't think Leah Thomas or that punk that's throwing the girls to the ground in that basketball game, they're not going away. It's going to haunt Democrats, as well it should. Speaking of haunting Democrats, let's get to Mayor Wu. Let's get to the 4 Democrat mayors of sanctuary cities are heading to Congress as we speak. Someone has to explain this to me. Mayor Wu, who is just an awful mayor. She's the young mayor of Boston, just a disaster. She's been awful in every respect. She's just not up for the job. She's heading to D.C. She's spending $650,000 on a team of lawyers to prepare her for her testimony. Yes, that's probably all on the taxpayers' dime. Why does it cost $650,000 to prepare this Harvard grad to testify? This is not going to go well for Mayor Wu. The only thing she has going for her is that Brandon Johnson's going to be there, that total whack job from Chicago, who's got an approval rating of 6%. Eric Adams is going to be there too. Eric's going to steal the show because he's going to pretend he wants to get illegal alien criminals out of his city, because he's hoping Trump, he's trying to tack to the middle here and hold on to his job. But Mayor Wu is just a disaster. The idea that this woman is capable of running a decent-sized city is just a joke. So over the weekend, as we know, there was a incident at Chick-fil-A in Boston on Boylston Street. A crazed lunatic with a knife chased 2 people into Chick-fil-A. Thank God an off-duty Boston police officer was in Chick-fil-A. He pulled out his weapon. He told him to drop the knife. He told him to stop, tried to stop him. He didn't. He shot him. He killed him. He's a hero. He saved lives. The people in that restaurant were just so lucky that he was there. Afterwards, on the scene, Michelle Wu offered condolences to the crazed knife-wielding lunatic. So did the police commissioner, by the way, another absolute incompetent. But she had time to think about it. A couple days later, what did she do? What do you expect? She's a Democrat. She went to Harvard. She once again offers condolences to the crazed knife-wielding lunatic. Go ahead.
I express condolences along with our police commissioner and district attorney, because every loss of life is a horrible tragedy.
I'm sorry, it's not a horrible tragedy when a cop saves innocent people. And by the way, on Saturday, she said nothing about the cop. She eventually praised him for acting quickly and decisively and saving lives. But that's just the way they think. She doesn't care that women and girls have been victimized by illegal aliens in her city. She's doubling down. She wants to protect illegal alien rapists and murderers and drug dealers. It's a tough spot for Mayor Wu and Brandon Johnson and Eric Adams. They have to go in there in front of the House Oversight Committee and explain why they prioritize illegals over their own citizens. Here are some of the people on the House Oversight Committee. James Comer, obviously, Jim Jordan, Clay Higgins, Nancy Mace, Byron Donalds, and the great Tim Burchett. On her side, the ones who will be claiming that whatever, it's racist, xenophobic, Ayanna Pressley and Jasmine Crockett. I like our chances. She's not going to be able to handle this. She's ill-equipped. She's not capable of defending her insane positions on this issue. And I'll tell you why it's going to go poorly for her. Because she's been in a bubble. She's been protected and coddled her whole life. She went to Harvard. She was a protege of Liz Warren. She's been in Boston. No one asks her tough questions. No one holds her feet to the fire. She wasn't even able to handle a press conference after a heroic cop stopped a knife-wielding maniac. That's she lost her way and started offering condolences to the madman. She under questions from Jim Jordan and Byron Donalds and Clay Higgins. I don't have a lot of confidence in Mayor Wu, and that's a good thing. I hope she gets totally exposed and totally embarrassed because she deserves it. But that's going to be good. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. We're gonna carry it live. Ironhead, can we cut into that while we're doing our show tomorrow? If they start going at her, I need to watch. We need to do that. We're gonna have live coverage.
Covering it live, it will be no issue.
We will cut into that when Mayor Wu starts reeling, starts getting pummeled, and looking around like, wait, I'm a good Democrat. I'm a friend of Liz Warren. You can't ask me. She's not going to be able to handle it because they can't. It's like everything else. It's indefensible. How do you defend an open border? How do you defend $300 billion for a war 5,000 miles away? How do you defend allowing illegal alien criminals? As Tom Homan pointed out, he counted 9. Waiting, Tom. We need you. Weather's warming up. Boston's not so bad this time of year. Where are you, Tom? We need you. Looking forward to Tom Homan. I'm going to make him a lasagna when he comes. I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out.
I can make lasagna for you to give him.
All right. You make a lasagna. We'll make some brownies. We'll find Tom Homan's crew, and we will show them support because we need them here in this city. But anyway, that's tomorrow. Tonight's the big speech. It's going to get crazy. The question is, do they throw an egg? That's my question. What do you think, Ironhead?
If someone throws an egg at him, they got to be kicked out and thrown.
They have to be arrested. You're right. They have to be arrested by the Secret Service. But there will be screaming. There will be people leaving, marching out, and hooting and howling. And there'll be histrionics. And they'll apparently hold up eggs. That's going to look so stupid. But I'm with you. I don't think you can't throw an egg and not get arrested at the president. But hey, as we just went over for almost an hour.
But you can pull a fire alarm and be fine.
That's true. He's not there anymore. Jamal Bowman won't be there, but they don't need him. They have plenty of crazy. They have Crockett. They have Ayanna. They have AOC. They have Rashida Tlaib. They have plenty of lunatics. It's going to get wild, and we will be all over this tomorrow. But we'll leave it there for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Go to Apple, go to Spotify, and subscribe. We'll be here on Free Speech Rumble and Twitter every day, but we need you to subscribe. We appreciate it. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, my God. Is she crazy?
Thank you. Thank you
Wow.
all. Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, too many. Thanks.